Well, good morning. It is Friday, March 5th, and we are gathered for morning devotion. And again, we're using Lent for Everybody by N.T. Wright, the Gospel of Mark. And today's passage is from chapter 6, verses 45 through 56. And so the focus is 45 through 52, which I will read. At once, Jesus made his disciples into the boat and set sail across towards Bethsaida. While he dismissed the crowd, he took his leave of them and went off to the mountain to pray. When evening came, the boat was in the middle of the sea, and he was alone on the shore. He saw they were having a hard time at rowing because the wind was against them. And he came to them about a fourth watch of the night, walking on the sea. He intended to go past them, but they saw him walking on the sea and thought it was an apparition. They yelled out. All of them saw him, and they were scared stiff. At once he spoke to them. "Cheer up," he said. "It's me. Don't be afraid." He came to them and got in the boat, and the wind stopped, and they were overwhelmed with astonishment. They hadn't understood about the loaves because their hearts were hardened. So there they were on the boat. We didn't know why he was in such a hurry that we should get away. We didn't know where he'd gone now or what he's expecting to happen next. It seems there was quite a sense of excitement after the extraordinary business of the loaves. Once people had got over their hunger, they started to ask questions. They wanted to know how it had happened, and some were getting very enthusiastic. And then Jesus told us to leave at once. The last thing we saw of him was headed up into the hills, probably off to pray again. He's always doing that. Wish I knew what he said. Anyway, we were back to the usual routine on the boat, taking turns with the sails, though they didn't last long because the wind swung around, unpredictable as ever with all those hills around the lake, and so it was back to the oars again. All right for those who'd always done it for a living, but for the rest of us, it's horribly hard work. You can take the skin off your fingers if you don't grip the oars properly, which I never seem to be able to manage. And for most of the time, it looks like we're not getting anywhere anyways. Watching the landmarks on the shore, we can't seem to be moving much at all. Then we realize night was on the way. Darkness was quick in the spring. Soon, all we could see would be a few fires by the shore, probably shepherds, I suppose. And there we were, between the black sky and the black waters. Nobody saying much now, everybody tired, almost forgetting about the ridiculous things we've just seen, taking turns with the oar, losing track of time, but everybody longing for sleep. And what was that? Didn't we see something? Yes, over there. No, it can't be. It must be a ghost. We're being followed. Perhaps we're doomed. Perhaps it's an angel of death coming to drown us all. And then the voice. So calm, so natural, almost as though he were teasing us. Here we are dropping the oars in fright, and there he was as though he was out all afternoon, out on an afternoon stroll, going to walk right by us. And then, "Cheer up, it's me," he says. Like, what's the problem? I wanted to say, what do you mean, cheer up? I've lived in this lake all my life, and this is the first time I've ever seen anybody walk on it. What's going on? Perhaps we're all mad, or perhaps the whole world has gone mad, or perhaps... But now he's speaking again, and this time I sense that he's looking straight at me. Funny how he makes you feel like that. Don't be afraid. Well, why not, I thought. Anybody in my position. And then it happened. Like it sometimes does when he speaks to you. Like a cold drink on a hot day. Don't be afraid. He says that quite a lot, and it rings bells from things I've heard in the synagogue. In the scriptures, angels say to the people, God says something too, now he's saying it. It was all a bit too much. I simply couldn't put it all together. The healings, the parties, the lawyers getting stropey with him, his cousin being killed, and then the business with the loaves, and now this. Maybe we are all crazy. Maybe we're all going to die if we follow him. But I've never known anybody like him, and nor anybody I know. And when we all went out with his cousin down to the Jordan, John seemed particularly clear that Jesus was the one. I'll tell you what, though. I'd rather row across the lake in a storm when he tells me to than do what that trumped-up king up the road would like for us to do. I always had a picture of my mind of what the ideal king would look like. And though Jesus wasn't that at all, Herod certainly wasn't and could never be. And in fact, I have a sense that Jesus isn't trying to be a different sort of king. And it's very appealing, his sort of kingdom, even though I still don't see how it all works. Perhaps this is how it's always going to be for anybody who wants to follow Jesus now or at any time. Perhaps that's what he wants from us, is not that we should be able to explain it all, but that we should be very clear we're going to go on following him. I may not be the sharpest tool in the box, but I reckon I'm in this for the long haul. I may not always understand it the first time, but I'll show it up. Or, my name's not Thomas, Didymus. I like that ending. So, N.T. Wright is portraying Thomas, the doubting Thomas character that we talk about the Sundays after Easter. And that's a funny ending, because here is again Thomas doubting. Thinking about that story about Jesus walking on water, how, at night, and how they weren't expecting it, how terrifying that might be. And all Jesus says is, hey, cheer up. It's me. Do not be afraid. And so in Thomas's mind, at least in the writing from N.T. Wright, the point is we don't need to understand everything Jesus does. There doesn't need to be a rational explanation in our mind. We just need to know that Jesus did this. And Jesus had some greater purpose for the kingdom of God. I don't know why he was walking on water. It's not one of his stepping stones that got him killed on Good Friday. It's just something that Jesus did. And it's a mystery, and it's a great story, and we just need to live with that.